Welcome to the Blue Room Podcast, an intimate space where we explore ourselves, our lives, and our relationships more deeply through therapeutic conversation. I'm your host, Tanya I, and I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. And we have my girl Tanya back again, back by popular demand.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
So glad that you agreed on such short notice.
Listen, you're talking about all the things that I just love, so I'm like, of course I'll come and talk.
Good. And we're in a new space because the home base is going through some things, so it's
all good.
Keeping it moving. You want to pull a card? We'll start off with the card pull.
Yes. I'm going to just go right on top, actually. And look, like last time I didn't bring my glasses.
Did you get She's like, I think it's upside down.
Mama Kate prepared.
That's so stylish.
When was the last time you were ashamed of your finances and why? I feel like you pulled this card before.
This one is going. We're throwing it.
Ashamed of my finances?
Let's pull another.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Another one? Okay. Because I was getting ready to answer that.
Do you want to?
No, it's okay. Because there definitely was a time. What is your greatest strength and biggest weakness? How are they related? Oh, girl, stop.
We've also already pulled this, but I will let you answer it.
My biggest strength? Oh, my biggest strength. Honestly, this morning I was thinking about this tattoo I have on my shoulder that says, strength is beautiful. I got it when I was 40. If I could do it over again, and I might, I would change it to vulnerability is beautiful.
Ooh.
That is my biggest strength. I shared in the last podcast that for many years I never showed vulnerability. I thought it was not good to do that, and I had to be the strong Black woman all the time. And I have let that go.
Yeah.
I have let that go.
Yeah.
I cry. I show my soft side. I do all of that. So I think that's my biggest strength, honestly, that I can show all of the human emotions. And they're not good or bad. They just are.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And being vulnerable is so strong.
Right?
It takes a lot more strength to be vulnerable.
And I know now that if people judge me for what I'm sharing, it's vulnerable, whatever, that is an indication of the healing they have to do.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest strength, I think.
Good.
My biggest weakness right now, I would say probably, I don't know. What's my biggest weakness? Maybe still the disease to please. We talked about that too in your last podcast, Yeah. I'm definitely on a healing journey. I will never be as arrogant to ever say I am healed. I don't believe that's ever going to be a thing for me. I am healing and working to be more kind and gentle and loving towards myself. And then taking that out into the world.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I give that to myself first, I can then give it to others.
Yeah.
So working on that, being okay to just say no, to maintain those boundaries, and to not worry what anyone thinks about me. Yeah. Because this is my life that God gave to me.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And it's nice to see and witness that we can continue to grow and continue to heal. And, our healing at 15 is going to be different than 30. It's going to be different than 45. And then again at 60 and on and on and on.
And thank God.
Thank God for that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
I loved that. That was a good question.
Good.
Made me think.
Let me pull one real quick. What do you think is one thing that we surprisingly have in common? That's from me to you. And I see it in you. I see it also with my relationship with people who have I find strong personalities or really confident, because my outward expression is very calm, very cool, very collected, and very grounded. Which is my sun sign and my rising sign, which is Taurus. So we're very stable, very calm. But my moon, my emotions are very, very fiery, very, we fight for what's right. We fight, for others. And so when I see folks who express that outwardly, I find you're really good with boundaries. You're really good at, saying what it is and what it isn't. You have this like this like commanding presence kind of about you. Like there's the softness, but there's also like, and I think also because of the work that you've done, you were in social work, you had to do it like a lot of investigations, like with, child sex trafficking and a lot of things. So like there's like a lot of leadership qualities with you and things like that, and fighting for what's right.
Yes.
Which you really, really, you really do. And when you have a stance on something, like, you know how to articulate it really well. And you mentioned like fighting on behalf of like your partner and things like that for like different things. And like, I'm like, yeah, like when I see that, I'm automatically attracted to that. And I think folks probably, they're like, oh, maybe like how can two kind of like different personalities like connect? But like on the outward, yeah, I would say that like I'm very calm, cool, and collected, but there is like that fiery desire to fight for other people and to fight in general that I don't necessarily always express that I value and I see in other people.
We know it's there.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's deep down in there. I'm gonna throw this one.
Good questions.
These are good ones. All right, so I invited you back today so we could chat about body image and kind of self-love. And I know that you're on this like self-love and healing journey. And that journey goes up and down and it looks different for a lot of people. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what self-love and body image looks like and probably how people express it. Sometimes gets misinterpreted or things like that. So I was really glad that you wanted to have this conversation with me today for selfish reasons. The journey that I'm on, which we're going to get into. But like when would you say like your self-love and body image journey, when did that start for you?
When did that start? I'm going to say probably I was 19 or 20. I was in my first or second year of university and I sought out the help of a therapist. That's where it began. Just to backpedal a little bit, the disruption that occurred for me that kind of led to not having a great body image, I was 5. My father left. And he didn't just leave. I observed him being violently arrested by police officers.
Oh, wow.
So that trauma, that racial trauma, and I had witnessed my father be treated very unfairly and endure, physical assault type stuff before. But that occurred when I was 5. And so I remember really early on, there were no safe places for me or safe people. At least that's how I felt at the time. And so I found solace in food. And I was 5 years old. I remember I'd have my little blanket with me, my little sucky blanket. I sucked my thumb. I would massage my nose, and if I wasn't doing that, I was nibbling on something, a cracker, like something. And that's where it began.
Right.
So that led me to a place, by the time I hit 20, I was very morbidly obese and had a very dysfunctional relationship with food and my ability to like express or feel my emotions and all of those things. So that's kind of
started.
That's how it started.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because it like me was probably really young too. Like I remember like being around 9 and I've like maybe, I would use food a lot, but I remember specifically probably when I was 13, and I would look after my sister because my mom would be working. And after school, we'd come home. I'd sit there with a big box of Oreo cookies and a big jug of milk, and I would just watch show after show, binge eating that whole entire box. And then, I would say like probably like a lot of this body image stuff starts really young, and people don't realize like the harm sometimes in commenting on kids' weight and like comparing. Like I was compared a lot to my sister who was like really like fit. Like she was like a very, thin girl her whole life. And I was always like the heavier one. But a lot of it came from suppressing and using food to bury things down because I couldn't speak about, the traumas that I was dealing with, things like that. So the only thing I could do is kind of shove it down.
Absolutely. And for me, growing up in a household that was very, I was exposed to a lot of abuse and addiction and just lots of things happening. The only thing that I could control was the food.
Yeah.
I could control what I put in my mouth, when, how much. And so by the time I hit 12 or 13, I had developed a raging eating disorder for sure.
Like on which side of the
Both.
spectrum?
I was binging, I was purging, I was starving myself. And by the time I was 13, I was in the hospital.
Really?
Because I had starved myself so long.
Wow.
And I remember my mom, they were talking to my mom. They really weren't speaking to me. No one inquired what was going on with me. But I had gone so long without food and without liquid, they put an intravenous in to try to get me hydrated, and I still continued to vomit because I had starved myself for so long.
Wow.
So adolescent, that time was really tricky. 12, 13, and you're right about when people make comments about your body, which I got all the time. I was a really young, I was developed very young, which is quite common with Black girls. We tend to hit puberty earlier.
Yeah.
So I hit puberty probably around 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 12, like things were not good. Yeah. The body image and just all of the eating disorders. It was a big thing. Consumed my life,
huge.
really.
Yeah. And then you get it like I remember like junior high, bullying and things like that. Everyone just comparing, your weight and your looks to everybody else.
Yeah.
And that was also around the time where there was no body positivity in the media at all.
No.
The white was right and thin was in.
Yes.
Like that was the only the only options that you had. So, if you were any size variation or color variation away from that, it was, you just weren't seen as beautiful at all. And then I remember, I think, I had my first kid I had my oldest son at 18, 19. And then I think I hit my highest weight was like well over 300 pounds. Like I remember getting on the scale at the doctor's office and watching that little dial go around like twice. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I think your scale's broken. I think your scale's broken. I remember watching it go around twice and I was like, looked at him. He's like, okay, well, let's step off and let's try it again. And then I had to watch it again. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay,
the trauma.
So, I was like, something really has to change. And then I went from, like, eating disorders can be on both ends of the spectrum. So I went from that disordered eating to eating so much to now taking like a lot of weight loss supplements, like starving myself, binging and purging. And I believe I was like, I think I was like early 20s when I was like at my smallest and I was, I was like 1,000 calories a day.
Me too. I did the same thing. I had a little whiteboard in university. It was on the fridge. And I would log all of my food. And once I hit 1,000 calories a day, I stopped eating.
Yep.
I was doing that. I lost 110 pounds.
Yep.
Same. I was 20 years old.
Yep.
And I thought it was all good and healthy. I was in therapy, like I was digging into some things.
Yeah.
But I swung the pendulum really far.
Way to
really,
the other
really
side.
far. Yeah. But was getting all kinds of comments. It's like, oh, you used to be a size 24 and now you're a size 6. Like, wow.
And I fed a lot on that.
Yeah.
External.
Me too.
Validation or just the comments, like how they went from like, you need to lose weight and things like that to like, oh, like you've lost so much weight. Congratulations. Like we really have to be careful when we comment on people's bodies because we don't know what they're going through. Like if you want to comment on something, if you want to praise somebody, like praise something else. Like you don't have to comment on their weight, their size. And I'm very mindful of that now.
I never say anything about anyone's weight because I know for me, I'm just like, it's not always like, why does it need to always be about my body?
Yeah.
I'm more than my body.
Yeah.
Big, small, in between, whatever it is. I just want to be healthy.
Exactly.
I want to not have a heart attack at 40. That was the goal for me.
Yeah.
And so now all these years later after losing that weight, and everywhere in between like you, it's like I've had children, I've gained 60, I've lost it, I've gained 100, I've lost it, like all in between. And now the focus for me is just health, holistic health.
Right.
How
Mind,
am I
body, spirit.
emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Yes, I enjoy moving my body.
Yeah.
You know, I can't run anymore like I used to. You know, age is just, it does something to your joints. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I find other ways to celebrate my body and to care for myself.
Yeah. And stay
But yeah,
active
yeah.
and
But
yeah.
we obsess about the size that a person, your body takes up. We obsess
Yeah.
about that, you
And
know? And
it's this temporary
yeah,
thing. Like it's just this the vessel that's taking you through this
right.
short amount of time. It's
Yeah.
what's the point? But a lot of it is like, when we do lose the weight and gain the weight and lose the weight again, there's a lot of reminders about it. And I know you and I we chatted about that. Losing 100 pounds plus does not come without a lot of loose skin and
Yeah.
a lot of like things like that. And that was something that like it shifted because I was like, oh, I lost 100 pounds. Now everything is going to be all good and the self-esteem is going to be there. And that was such a bullshit
Yeah. I
lie.
thought the same thing too.
Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought that skinny was like the
Yeah.
destination.
I thought all of my problems would be solved when I
Yeah.
lost the weight. And I remember the day at the gym when my trainer did all my measurements and weighed me and, you know, did all that stuff. And she's like, you officially lost 110 pounds. And it was a big celebration. I was in their newsletter and like taking pictures and like all this stuff. And I remember sitting alone with myself only a couple days later at home. And I was so sad.
Yeah.
And all of the same problems that I had,
Same way.
self-esteem, like, you know, the trauma, all of it, it was all still there. It just was in a different body.
Yeah.
Your body, it really is irrelevant. We focus on the size,
Yeah.
but it's really not that deep.
There's so
not.
much more. There's so
So
much
much
more
more.
to it.
Yeah.
And like for me, it was like that external validation and like that feeling good enough. Like I was like,
Yeah.
you know, like, am I gonna find like the perfect person now that I've lost all this weight? And you are the same person that you were when, you were 300 plus pounds. So it's not gonna change like the relationship dynamic. Like, yes, people are, looking at you more now,
True.
but what does that really change about how like you feel about yourself? Like it was really like such a shocker for me. And then I felt actually worse or still bad because I was like, I had so much pressure now to keep the weight off, right?
That part.
Like I was like,
Yeah.
and now I cannot even eat anything outside of my designated 1,000 calories a day. Like have to make sure that I am working out like 2 hours a day. Like I don't want folks to think that I've like made all this success and now like go back to the other side. Like
The shame that comes with that.
yeah.
The shame that comes with when your body starts to change and to grow again. Even in pregnancy, I was terrified to gain too much weight in my pregnancies.
So you got pregnant again after you lost all the weight?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yes. Because
2 more times. Yeah. And I gained 100 pounds for both of my children.
I'm like, I tried not to. I think
did.
I gained more with my singleton than I did with twins, but it was still like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Like,
I get the women that have said to me over the years, like, oh, I only gained 25 or 30 pounds. I'm like, girl,
you don't understand.
how?
Yeah.
Like, I grew babies that were 10 and 12 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my child now, my son, my youngest, who's 13, he was almost 12 pounds and I birthed him at home naturally.
Wow.
Like the body will do amazing, miraculous things if we just get out of the way.
Yeah.
You know? And so now I'm in the season of really trying to appreciate everything that my body has done for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
At a size 6, at a size 24, and everything in between. It's like my body is amazing.
It's so true. I was like, I remember when I first found out that I was pregnant with the twins, I was at first I thought it was one baby and I was like, okay, I'm not going to have the same experience as last time. I'm not going to gain 100 pounds. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do all the things. And then I feel like as soon as they said it was twins, that was like my ticket. And I feel like, I'm like, nobody talked to me. Nobody told me to work out. Don't tell me to eat anything. And I think like some folks, and being a doula too, like some folks have all this energy during pregnancy, and then other folks that were just in this like rest and reserve space. And I don't know why that is. Like I don't know if that's, based on maybe what your cellular like what you need on a cellular level. Maybe it's your body being in overdrive for so long. Maybe it's like a trauma response, or I don't know what it is, but your body just knows what the baby needs, and I feel like you should trust it. Like I don't, if women are like, oh, the doctor says I should like walk like however many times a day, as their doula, I'm like, you do what feels
good for
right
you.
for you.
Exactly.
If you don't feel like you need, you want to walk, or you just feel like you don't have the energy, if you just want to sit and just reserve your energy, like you're creating a whole human inside of your body. Like don't put any more pressure on yourself to have to perform and do these things, because people gain all kinds of weight. And you, like you said, you delivered a 12-pound baby at home. People just like, I feel like sometimes, the doctors are like, yeah, if it gets over, 9 pounds, 10 pounds, like it's going to be a C-section.
Oh, they tried that with me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
No.
They put all this, and all of it is like weight around weight. I'm like, who's even structuring the standards and the norm? I'm like, I know it's like some
white supremacy.
Absolutely. It's like some white doctor and then, from like however many 100 years ago who set these standards, and it has no cultural relevance.
Exactly. I reject all of that.
Same.
No, unless you have some serious complications happening, there is no reason why we can't. And that's why I rejected what the doctors were saying. There's no reason why I couldn't birth naturally at home. They kept telling me, you've gained a lot of weight. Like there might be complications. There might be this, there might be that. Or I said, or it might go perfectly.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened.
Yeah. I'm so glad you advocated for yourself.
Oh,
yeah.
After the trauma I endured after the birth of my first child in a hospital and how I was treated by the white doctors, it was, I knew I would never go back to a hospital. No, the trauma was real. Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. And I remember, same kind of experience, like them being like, it's probably going to be a C-section. It's, you have a breech baby, that's definitely going to be a C-section. I was like, we might have to switch doctors. Like if that's the case, that's going to be. And thankfully, when they found out it was twins, I got an OB instead of my doctor, who was actually another doctor, because my doctor stopped delivering babies. So I had another doctor who didn't know my body at all, who was like, we're gonna probably have to do a C-section or whatever. And then I had the OB who was like, okay, like what do you want to do? I was like, well, I've spoken with my midwives, and they're the ones who told me that breech birth was even possible.
Right.
Nobody even told me
Medical
that.
doctors won't tell you that.
No, they won't. 'Cause it's such a liability.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, anyway, we're gonna do it how we do it. So it was, the most beautiful birth. But then I was back to, after losing all that weight, back to like 300 and some pounds after giving birth. And I was like, shit.
And breastfeeding and the hormones and the possible depression. Like we got to speak on that
so
too,
much.
because I'm like, I went through postpartum depression, and
Same.
society is looking at you and they're focusing on your body. Like, how quickly you've snapped back or this and that. And I'm like, the things that are going on in my mind and in my heart, people have no idea. No. Our society is so twisted. We focus on all the wrong things.
It's so true. And a lot of focus is on the baby too, which is like, okay, baby, sure. Like, okay, focus on the baby, but I feel like there needs to be more emphasis put on the maternal postpartum.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And my doula work, that's a lot what I do, is I focus on mom's mental health. I focus on her 100%. I'm like, the doctors are already taking care of the babies. The nurses are already taking care of the babies. Like, how are you doing? And I remember that being like such a like tough time. And then I won't even lie, like less than a year, I had went back to pre-pregnancy in unhealthy ways.
Yeah.
Like, this is me being straight honest. Like I was like, I want to lose that 100 pounds. Once we got past the first 3 months of like me breastfeeding, I was like, okay, whatever supplements I need to take, whatever, like I already knew the routine because I had lost
totally. Me too.
like, 1,000 calories, whatever, like working out, stroller walks, whatever, elliptical in the room, like just doing my thing just to lose all the weight. And then I did it. And then like, I think at one point I was just like, this is not like sustainable for me. Like, it's just not sustainable for me. And I stopped, taking all the supplements and everything like that. And then naturally my body just regained like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, like sitting at 230, like, I feel like this is like the healthy like for my height and body composition, I'm like, I think this is where my body feels the most comfortable. Like I'm active, I'm eating well. And I'm like, damn, like I remember being like 70 pounds lighter. And that was like the ideal. Like that was like the ideal.
Crazy. And you need to fight so hard to stay at a certain weight. And it's like, how about we just encourage our body to just find its set point and just embrace that?
Yeah.
You know, like you were talking about, like 230 is, you know, it feels good. My body's comfortable. I'm living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
I feel good holistically, spiritually,
100%.
mentally, you know, like we need to focus more on that, I think. Yeah.
I agree. And it's also okay to have different goals at different times.
Totally.
Like I'm like, you know, there's my rest phase where like I feel like I just naturally gained the 30 pounds back. And then now I'm like, okay, like I want to lose like a little bit, you know, more or whatever. So then like it's just like it's just different goals at different times.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Now, I feel exactly what you're saying. I'm midlife now.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
Yeah.
You know? And so my focus is more around, let me learn more about my hormones and how going through menopause. I'm not in menopause yet, but I'm perimenopause. I have all the symptoms. Maybe since I've moved to Nova Scotia, I've probably gained 20 pounds. It's like, okay, I have hormonal things are happening. There's been some stress moving across the country and resigning your job and all that stuff comes with a lot of stress. But I'm like, you know, I'm really just trying to be kind and gentle with myself.
100%. That's the difference.
That kind and gentle, because it's like, I am not defined by a number on the scale.
Yeah.
That is white supremacy and the patriarchy. And I am rejecting that.
Yeah.
I'm rejecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point, because whether it's like hormonal factors or whether it's like personal factors, whatever, you know, it's not right or wrong to want to lose weight or change your body or things like that. It's like, how are you approaching it? Like, are you approaching it in a more like loving and compassionate way to yourself, or is it more of like, you know, we have to get it done, and like, you know, just more like aggressive towards yourself,
ridiculing yourself, and talking badly about yourself in your head. I mean, I did that for years.
Yeah.
Would call myself names and just. I'm like, how terrible. Would I ever talk to a girlfriend or a sister that I love so much like that? I would never speak to you that way.
Yeah.
But I was fine to speak to myself like that for many years.
I remember recording myself working out just so that I could like rewatch it later and like pick my body apart. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
We're so mean to ourselves.
Like
we're so mean to that is what society tells us that we should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, like society really benefits from like the capitalistic society we're in. It really benefits when we hate ourselves.
100%.
When we don't love our hair, when we don't love our skin, when we don't love our bodies, they make money from that, you know? So for me, I'm just like, I'm really trying hard to reject that, you know? That doesn't say that I'm completely against getting things done. I'm not. I've had things done.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, if I said to my husband recently, I'm like, you know, if I happen to come into some money, I'm not opposed to doing
That's the first thing
something
I'm
else
to do.
But for me, it's not because I hate myself.
Yeah.
No one's going to know underneath my clothes what I'm doing. That's for me.
It's a personal thing.
That is for me.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. I want to talk about that a bit too, is this kind of surgery bit, because I've explored it a lot. I'm still exploring it, and like full disclosure, like I am actively looking at doctors where I can, like I really want a tummy tuck surgery. Like that's something that I'm really kind of looking at, and probably like a couple nips and tucks here and there. But like it was, and I've researched it for 7 years, no word of a lie. When I first started losing the weight, I'd say even 10 years, like when I first started seeing that weight come off and all the excess, I was like, you know, how can I get this like body that I desired? And it was really interesting, because I think at the beginning, you know, it's more, I think I was in a different mindset, you know, about why I wanted cosmetic surgery or plastic surgery. And now it's like, it's really different. Can you share a little bit about like your experience with?
Sure. I mean, for me, I had lost 110 pounds, gained some back, had another pregnancy, put another 100 back on, lost it. After my first pregnancy, and my son's 23 now, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I had a very significant, like, I'll call it a flap of skin, I guess, hanging from my tummy. It didn't matter how much I worked out or like what I did.
Yeah.
No one could see that.
Yeah.
You know, in my clothes, like it's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm like, this is for me.
Yeah.
So I went to my husband and said, I'm thinking about getting a tummy tuck, which involves, and you would know, you're researching it. I researched it for so many years too.
Yeah.
A muscle repair where they re-sew your muscles here that have been stretched by pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's kind of your internal corset.
Yeah.
So they sew that back together nice and tight.
Yeah.
And then take off the loose skin and, do lipo and do all that stuff too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I'm going to get that done. And my husband's like, great, do what you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I think you're beautiful and fantastic and wonderful, but he's like, this is for you.
Yeah.
Do what you like. And so I did. I did a whole bunch of research and I found a doctor in Banff, Alberta.
Yeah.
And I went and had it done.
Yeah.
And nobody knew it was for me.
Yeah. It's like a very private personal thing.
Yeah.
And I went through all the stages, like, and you probably can relate because you've gone through all of it and you've done the whole thing. But like the initial stages is like, why do I want this done so badly? And it's like, I reject capitalism. I reject this like societal kind of, pressure and this body image, like expectations that they have, especially as, a mom who's delivered kids and all of these things and, preaching self-love and all that stuff. But like, for me, all of it, and I chatted with you about this, it was like, there's so many physical reminders that like, no matter how much weight I lose, no matter how hard I'm at the gym, there's a lot of the reminders of the pain and the trauma that like I went through, like when my body was not, mine, and when I didn't have the skills to know how to cope properly, and I was using food and I was like being really unhealthy, and now it's a physical reminder. It's like this extra skin and all of these things, and now I'm in a space where I have control of my life and I have control of my body. But then seeing this physical reminder, like it's just like, it's a mental thing for me. It has nothing to do with like society or expectations or any other person. It's like a reminder for me. And I feel like now, like in a healthier mind frame, like I want to be like, okay, this is something that I'm doing, for me and for where I am in
I can
my
relate
journey.
to that. I got shivers when you were saying like it has nothing to do with, because I know some people have challenged, my family in particular, maybe, and some friends years past, like, you're so confident and you're against the patriarchy and you're against all these things. So why are you getting surgery, or why did you? And it's like, this was for me.
Yeah.
Nobody could see what was going on underneath my clothes. That was for me. To feel confident and comfortable in my body. This is my body.
Yeah.
And I did everything the right way. I still continued to go through therapy. It wasn't like a self-hate journey, like, oh, I need to fix this because I'm broken or something's wrong. No. But like you, it also was a reminder of a lot of trauma.
A lot of
my
pain.
body was showing that trauma and that pain. And I wanted to not look in the mirror every day and be reminded constantly.
100%.
Because I had done so much work here. I wanted my body to match.
Yeah. And we've done the physical work. We're eating well, we're exercising, we're doing all that work, and I feel you want the physical to match with the mental. Yeah. Like I don't want to continuously like be reminded of like when I had no control over my life. Like it's such a personal thing, and I remember like looking at like folks and being like, why would they spend this much money and why would they do this, and I struggle with that myself. It's like, why would I is it am I buying into this stuff? But it's like it's not at all. It's just those daily reminders. It's just those daily reminders of just that pain and that trauma. Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're doing that self-exploration.
Yeah.
Just as I did. It's like, why am I doing this again? Like, like just really kind of doing a deep dive around, are you giving in or to the chatter of like, you should look a certain way or you should be a certain size. So I really, while I was doing the research many years, just like you, because I didn't have the money to get this done. I mean, after university and mom and all of that, like I couldn't afford the plastic surgery, but I was doing a deep dive, in therapy to just to make sure I was doing this for the right reasons.
Yeah, for
and for
yourself.
me, I'm like, to each their own.
100%.
Who am I to judge another woman or another man or another person, period,
Exactly.
for wanting to get plastic surgery? If that's
Yeah.
something you want to do,
Yeah.
that's up to you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to judge you. You're living your life. I'm going to live my life.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I know, like, right now I'm looking at this, like, tourism surgery. What do they have? Like, these
Mexico, Dominican.
yeah, like, place like that. And it's, like, half the amount.
Yeah.
What do you
Listen, I do know some people who have gone and have had like great success. I can send you a profile on Instagram.
Yes.
So there's a girl I talked to. She's also in Alberta. She went to Dominican and had some amazing results, an amazing experience. I saw the hospital. It was like top notch.
State of
Like
the art.
you wish we had that here. Like we don't.
Right.
There was it's definitely a thing over there where it's like it's like plastic surgery, tourism, like that's the whole thing.
It's like
And her results were amazing.
Yeah, and it's a whole, and it's really interesting because I even have to question my own, like, why wouldn't I do something there? And I find like the society here, like, you know, whether it's political or whatever, we're so good at making like Canada and North America seem like the best and the only places, and everything else is like third world.
It's a lie.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lie.
Like like doing all this research, I'm like, wow, like there's literally like state of the art facilities around the world that you can get this stuff done for like half.
The tummy tuck will cost you, because I got mine done in Alberta, it's like $12,000.
Yeah.
And you can go to Dominican or Mexico and probably get it done for 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was like recovery like?
Brutal. It was mostly because of the muscle repair, right? So I couldn't stand up straight.
Oh, gosh.
And my surgeon wanted me to just have the muscle repair and the tummy tuck and lipo done, and then have my breast reduction, lift, and lipo done separate, because it was a lot. And I'm like, no, we're going to do it all at once.
Did it all.
So I did everything. So when I knew I was done having babies and done breastfeeding and all of that stuff, I had everything done.
Yeah.
And recovery was like, the breasts were fine, but the tummy was so sore. I couldn't stand straight.
No, you can't even laugh. You can't even cough.
Nothing. And my husband's always making me laugh. So I would say to him, could you just come into the room, give me my pain meds and my water and get out? Because I was bent over, like just holding my stomach, trying to not laugh at him because he's ridiculous. So, you know, the first week was painful for sure.
Yeah.
First week was painful. But I was certainly very happy with the results. Minimal scarring. Like, you know, I followed the rules, wearing the tight kind of like corset stuff at first. And
was it a full like hip to hip?
Hip to hip cut. Yeah. And I was, of course, you're watching videos on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But honestly, we all heal differently.
Yeah.
I think it also has to do with like how you take care of yourself and how much water and just all of that. So I followed everything perfectly. And, you know, I'm not mad at any of the scars that I have, honestly.
That's good.
At all.
That's good.
Yeah.
What was the like mental journey after that? Like the way that you saw your body and all those things.
I was just so proud of myself, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I have been through so much, and my body has been so good to me. And even after surgery, I'm like, look at how my body is healing,
right,
and thriving, and just is so strong. And I'm just really proud. I'm proud of myself and thankful more than anything, and say thank you every day for my body, for everything that it does for me, even as I venture into menopause.
Yeah, which is like another ball game.
Challenging, yeah, it's challenging. But I'm like, body, like she really takes good care of me.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this journey, kind of or this step along the self-love journey.
Yes,
is, you know, to take this step forward and to be so open about it. And I'm really glad that you decided to have this conversation with me.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to find open conversations about this online, because there is still so much shame around it, and there's
stigma, judgment.
Absolutely. And I think for women who want this to be a part of their self-love journey and their body image journey and their healing journey, they should have spaces where they can talk about it and get information and kind of, you know, have these open conversations around it. So I appreciate you being open about it. I'm really excited. It's like I said,
I'm excited for you.
10 years. I know, 10 years I've been like researching it, and I don't have like a set date yet, but I know that I've been back and forth with hospitals. There's one in it's not Brazil, but somewhere around Brazil where they're offering this at a really good rate. I'll send you the Instagram.
I was going to say, I'm going to send you some Instagram ones too of people that I know who have gone.
Yeah.
And they post very openly their pictures, and like, you know, some have gone for like breast implants and different things. That's not something I had done, but again, to each their own.
Yeah.
You know, but have posted a lot of pictures of like the whole journey from before the surgery, during, after.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I do a lot of research.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'd love to see what your friends say, and just have these like personal connections where folks are just open about sharing.
Totally. And at the end of the day, it's like, you get to choose.
That's it.
It's your life.
Yeah.
We get to choose what we want to do and what's great for us, what's best for us.
Yeah.
You know, and what other people think is really irrelevant.
Yeah. And that's the most beautiful thing about this process, that this is a choice that I get to have over my own body.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it feels so good, doesn't it? To be able to decide, for yourself.
Yeah.
This is what I want for my body.
Yeah.
And nobody else gets to choose that for me. Like, I get to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's quite liberating.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. It's like at 2:30, like I'm definitely not the smallest that I've ever been, but I'm comfortable. Like I'm comfortable with where I'm at. And I'm like, just this little, what did a doctor say once? It's like kind of like a reconstructive, you know, I think it said that it's like a reconstructive, or it's like an enhancement or something, or
like the
whatever.
tummy tuck?
Yeah. They're like, it's like a reconstructive.
It's a reconstructive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because especially you've carried twins and stuff, so I'm sure you probably have a gap in your muscles with the abs too. So that's all part of like, they sew all that together, and it's quite the thing. So I would definitely call it a reconstructive for sure.
And the other part of it that we didn't even touch on is the low back pain, because the abdominals are so separated.
I always had low back pain.
Yeah.
So once I had my tummy tuck and those muscles were sewn back together, I'm like, wow.
You get to support that low back.
Yes.
Like, for real.
Oh, I felt like I was in a new body.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is on their self-love journey right now, and maybe going back and forth with surgery and things like that, and like, what would you say to someone who might be struggling with that?
I think the biggest thing is to make sure you spend some time doing like some deep dive, like look inside, because we would be naive to say that the pressure from social media is not there. It is there.
100%.
It's everywhere, you know? And so to really try to push that aside and look inside around, why are you really wanting to do this? You know? And if you come back with, you know, what you deem to be the right reasons, the health, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's, and not do it because, you know, your boyfriend has said something, or your husband or your partner has said something, and you feel badly about yourself. And I'm like, no, those are not reasons, I don't think, to do plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I feel like but I also feel like it's a real personal decision.
Yes.
And it's not for anyone else to make for you.
Yeah.
This is for you to make.
Yeah.
So I would definitely spend some time looking inside.
Yeah.
Not
Doing
like,
that work.
do that work, do that internal work. Not, I see this girl on Instagram, I really want to look like her. No, that's not it.
Because once the surgery is done, you're still in the same body.
Yes.
You're still in the same mind.
Yeah,
You still
the
have
mind.
same mind.
Exactly. So if the mind isn't right, and you're changing all these things on your body, you're not going to be happy.
100%.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Just like you, I thought after I lost 110 pounds, my life would be perfect. No.
What a surprise.
I still had all there was a lot of work to do still.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you'd want to be happy with where you are in this moment, first of all.
Yeah.
And then doing anything extra is just extra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't change who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're working on who you are on the inside, I'm like, this is just our vessel. Do what you want.
Yeah.
You know, because when you've done the work on the inside, I just changing, not changing, but like the reconstructive stuff, I guess change, you know, like I do see my tummy tuck is like, yeah, I changed something about how I looked, but I just feel like the mental, emotional, spiritual is now matching up now with my physical.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense.
I like how you said that, like an opportunity for the mind to match the body. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it might not make sense for some people, and it doesn't need to.
It doesn't need
because this is personal to me.
Yeah.
And personal to you.
Yeah.
We all, it's a personal thing,
Yeah.
personal decision, personal process. So
100%, 100%. Yeah, and you can still love yourself throughout the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because you get plastic surgery doesn't mean you don't love yourself.
And that's the thing.
But there definitely are some people who get it, you know, and haven't done the inside work, and then when they're still so unhappy after, well, it's because
we didn't do the work.
Yeah, the work isn't matching kind of what's on the outside. You know, so yeah. But again, to each their own. Like I would never be in judgment of anyone.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
ever.
Same.
Yeah. And I would appreciate it if you don't judge me.
No judgments for you. Like I said, I'm just really glad that you allowed me to sit and talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, there's not many spaces where you can, and sometimes it's frowned upon and ridiculed, and at the end of the day, and it's so crazy how common it is, and nobody talks about it.
Oh, so common.
Like, it's so common. Everyone's, oh yeah, just a little nip here, a little tuck
Botox,
there.
lipo,
Yeah.
BBLs, like there's all kinds of stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
do what you want to do.
100%.
But like I'm not a fan of like doing those things because you feel so much pressure.
Yeah.
Of like I need to look a certain way to like be liked or accepted in society. Oh no.
Yeah.
I reject all that.
Yeah. It has to be personal.
Yeah,
Has
I
to be
think so.
personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Because you'll spend all that money and transform your body to the way you feel like you want it to look, but you're still going to feel empty and unhappy.
Yeah. How do you feel in your body today in this moment?
Listen, that's a loaded question, especially with perimenopause and stuff. But
a little warm.
Really, I am warm. But really, what I try to lead with most days is, and don't get me wrong, there are definitely some days where the negative self-talk will begin.
Yeah.
The difference is now I'm not 20 anymore. I've done a lot of work. And as soon as I hear her starting to chatter and say something, I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah.
You know, you are perfectly beautiful and lovely and doing your best today, Tanya. And that is enough.
Yeah.
You know, give myself a little hug. I really try to show myself the love and self-compassion that I try to show others.
100%.
I try to show that to myself first.
Yeah. And the triggers are always going to be there.
Oh.
The triggers are,
Yeah.
always.
But I would say for the most part, like, I feel pretty good.
Good.
I try to give my body what it needs every day.
Yeah.
Some days I need to just do yoga. Some days I need to go for a walk in nature. Some days I'm going for a ride on my bike.
Yeah.
And some days I'm laying in bed longer or taking a mid-afternoon nap.
Yeah.
What does my body need? Because she's going through lots of things right now.
Yeah.
You know, and menopause it can be a challenging time.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to fight with my body and myself, I'm trying to love my body and myself more and more as I go through this journey in midlife. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I'm grateful for you being here.
Too.
If I do follow through with this, which I do plan to do, to be the first person.
Listen,
Actually, you want to come to Dominican?
I would come to Dominican with you in a second.
Be my caretaker for like
in
10
a second,
days.
yes.
I appreciate that, and I'm really grateful that we got to make that connection between self-love, body image, and surgery, and how we can have these conversations all in the same space.
Totally, yeah.
And normalize that.
They're not separate.
They
can be.
100%.
We can, marry them.
Yeah, they are not separate.
Yeah.
But thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to send us a DM. This is Tanya. If we haven't said so already, Black Excellence Healing on Instagram. So give her a follow for daily inspiration and self-love and rest, reminders to rest and love yourself. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.